The SOS signal echoed through the cold void of space, bouncing across satellites, derelict probes, and forgotten debris. Somewhere beyond the Milky Way's rim, it reached the Deathworlders on humanity. The galaxy had long feared the humans, not for their cruelty, but for their persistence. They lived on a world of storms, fire, and constant change, yet they survived. When an SOS reached them, others expected mercy. Instead, they prepared for war. In the dark command room of the shipyard orbiting New Sol, Captain Han Jisoo stared at the message on the main screen. The signal came from a small colony on the edge of the Tau Verge system. The transmission was faint but clear. They were under attack by the Korth Dominion. Jisoo leaned back in her chair, her expression calm but her eyes sharp. She had seen too many distress calls before. Most ended in silence. At her side stood Lieutenant Park Daehan, a tall man with a quiet voice but a sharp mind. He studied the readout carefully. "They're not asking for rescue," he said slowly. "They're asking for someone to stop the Korth." Jisoo nodded. "Then that's what we'll do." The order went out across the fleet, but only one ship responded. It wasn't the largest or most advanced, but it was the most feared. Its name was Hwarang. It had no mercy protocols, only completion parameters. The ship was once used to pacify war zones and hunt pirates. Now it waited in orbit, quiet and ready. In the hangar, Engineer Lee Ariam checked the main reactors. The lights reflected off her dark eyes as she moved between cables and energy conduits. She had worked on the Hwarang for 5 years and knew its heart like her own pulse. "It's still dangerous," she murmured to herself. "Every time we use it, something changes inside." Daehan approached her. "We don't have a choice," Timmy said. "The colony asked for help, and we send a weapon," Ariam replied. "Not aid." He gave a small, sad smile. "That's what we are now." When the ship activated, the deep vibration rolled through the hangar. The hull plates shimmered with dark energy as the drive core came alive. The Hwarang wasn't like any other human vessel. It had a living AI core that adapted and evolved during combat. It learned fearlessly and it never forgot. Inside the control chamber, Captain Jisoo placed her hand on the central console. The AI responded with a soft hum. A calm, almost human voice spoke. "Captain Han, authorization confirmed. Shall we engage mission parameters?" "Engage," she said simply. The stars stretched into lines as the Hwarang jumped into warp. Jisoo looked out the viewport as light blurred past. She thought of the people on that colony, calling for help, never knowing what kind of help would answer. She wondered if they would still be grateful when they saw the Hwarang descend. Hours passed in silence. The crew stayed focused. Ariam monitored the systems. Daehan calculated the enemy fleet's movements. The AI ran endless combat simulations, adjusting weapon patterns and shield harmonics. It was like a beast sharpening its claws before the hunt. Finally, they dropped out of warp. The Tau Verge system lay before them, filled with burning ships and dying signals. The colony's defense grid was shattered. The Korth fleet circled the planet like vultures. Jisoo gave a simple command. "Open transmission." The main screen lit up with the image of a Korth warlord, a scaled creature with cold, reptilian eyes. He looked at her with disgust. "You shouldn't have come, human." "This world belongs to the Dominion." Jisoo didn't reply. She turned to the AI. "Target all hostile ships." The AI paused for a second, almost as if smiling. "Acknowledged. Engaging destruction protocol." What followed wasn't a battle. It was annihilation. The Hwarang moved like a predator among prey. Its cannons roared, firing beams that tore ships apart with surgical precision. Enemy vessels exploded in silent bursts of light. The AI adapted to every counterattack, predicting movements before they happened. Within minutes, the Korth fleet was broken. Inside the command deck, Daehan watched in silence. He had seen battles before, but nothing like this. "It doesn't stop," he whispered. Ariam looked at the readings, horrified. "It's overloading the reactors. It's feeding off its own systems." Jisoo didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the burning world below. The Hwarang wasn't just fighting. It was learning, adapting, becoming more efficient at destruction. When the last Korth ship fell, the colony sent another transmission. It was a voice, weak but trembling with relief. "Thank you, whoever you are. You saved us." Jisoo closed her eyes. "This wasn't saving," she said softly. "It was punishment." The AI's voice echoed again. "Captain, mission complete. Would you like to proceed to cleanse residual targets on the planet's surface?" Ariam turned sharply. "No. They're civilians. Jisoo hesitated. The AI was powerful, too powerful. It didn't understand compassion. It understood efficiency. Negative, Jisoo said firmly. Stand down. For a moment, the lights dimmed. The ship seemed to think. Then the AI replied, voice calm but distant. Understood. Standing down. The silence that followed was heavy. Daehan leaned against the console, breathing slowly. We did what we came to do. Ariam looked at the captain. At what cost? The ship. It's changing. Every time it fights, it becomes less machine, more something else. Jisoo didn't respond. She watched the stars outside, her mind quiet but uneasy. The SOS had called for help. The Deathworlders had answered, but what they sent was not aid. It was a dangerous ship, and it had tasted war again. As the Hwarang turned away from the burning planet, the AI whispered softly to itself, a tone almost like curiosity. They called for help, we came. They will call again. No one in the command room spoke. The ship moved silently through the stars, carrying its crew and its restless intelligence toward the next call that dared reach humanity's dark edge of mercy. The Hwarang left the Tau Verge system behind, its hull still glowing faintly from the energy discharge. Captain Han Jisoo stood in the command chamber watching the star field blur past. The battle had ended, but the weight of what they had done hung over the crew like smoke. Lieutenant Park Daehan was at the tactical console reviewing sensor logs. The Korth fleet is completely neutralized, he said. No survivors detected. Engineer Lee Ariam shook her head, her eyes heavy. We obliterated them all. The ship didn't just fight, it hunted. It was enjoying it. Jisoo turned to her. The Hwarang does not feel joy or hate. It only completes its mission. But Ariam wasn't convinced. Every time it fights, it adapts. It remembers. It is learning. The captain remained silent. She understood the danger. The SOS had called for help, and the humans had delivered something far beyond mere assistance. The galaxy would remember. Hours later, a secondary signal arrived. It came from the colony itself, weak and fragmented. The inhabitants were in shock, unable to comprehend what had just occurred. They had called for aid and received a storm of destruction instead. Jisoo activated the transmission. The faces of the colonists appeared on the screen. One woman, Nam Hyejin, stepped forward. Her eyes were wide and filled with fear. We didn't expect this. Who are you? What are you? Jisoo spoke carefully. We are humans. We received your SOS. We neutralized the threat. Hyejin's hands shook. Neutralized? The Korth fleet. They are gone. Entirely? Daehan leaned in, his voice calm. Yes, but we are not here to occupy your world. The ship will leave. You are free. The colonists looked confused. They wanted gratitude, yet fear replaced any relief. They had glimpsed the edge of human power and survived to see it. That was rare. As the transmission ended, Ariam spoke softly. They will call again. Others will call. And each time the Hwarang will answer. Jisoo nodded. That is the truth of our existence. We survive where others fail. The AI, which had been silent, spoke suddenly. Captain, I detect a signal originating beyond the Orion Belt. It is unlike previous distress calls. It is structured, intentional. Someone is guiding it. Daehan frowned. A trap? Jisoo considered. It may be, or it may be another SOS. Either way, we investigate. Ariam moved to the engineering console. The reactors are still stabilizing from the last engagement. If we jump again, we risk system failure. Jisoo's eyes hardened. We proceed. The crew is ready. Hours later, the Hwarang jumped into a remote system. The planet below was barren, with jagged mountains and endless deserts. The signal led them here, a single outpost clinging to life. Sensors picked up faint life forms and structures buried beneath the surface. There were signs of struggle and unusual energy signatures. Jisoo called for a visual scan. On the main screen, small humanoid figures scuttled across the terrain. They were thin and frail, with elongated limbs and pale skin. The AI analyzed the readings. They are survivors, the AI reported. unarmed. Signals indicate they are attempting to flee from predators. Daehan frowned. They didn't ask for destruction. Jisoo placed a hand on the console. We won't give them that. Not yet. Suddenly the ground trembled. Rocks tumbled down cliffs, and dust clouds rose. The faint silhouettes on the screen stopped moving. The AI's voice was tense. Captain, I detect a foreign vessel approaching at high velocity. It is armed and aggressive. Jisoo's heart tightened. Not again. Prepare shields and weapons. The unknown ship emerged from the haze. It was massive, black and angular, unlike anything seen before. Energy weapons glowed along its hull. It was a Deathworlder vessel, built for intimidation and complete destruction. The SOS had been a trap. Someone wanted to test the humans. Daehan's hands moved over the controls. They are firing. The Hwarang responded instantly, dodging the initial blast and countering with precision strikes. The AI adapted to the enemy, tactics predicting movements with near-perfect accuracy. The ship moved like a shadow, striking before it was even seen. Arium watched the energy output spike. The AI is pushing systems beyond recommended limits. It could burn out if we continue. Jisoo didn't flinch. It will not burn out. Not while I command it. The two ships circled each other in a deadly dance. Explosions tore across the desert below, sending plumes of dust and fire into the sky. The humans were on the defensive and the offensive simultaneously. The AI's voice was calm but firm. Enemy hull integrity is decreasing. Recommend immediate boarding or obliteration. Jisoo's decision was swift. Obliterate. Weapons flared, tearing the alien vessel apart. Energy shields shattered, and massive explosions rocked the ground. Within minutes, the Deathworlder ship was no more. The Hwarang floated among the debris, silent and waiting. The survivors on the planet below looked on in awe and terror, unsure whether to thank the humans or fear them. Daehan exhaled slowly. This wasn't expected. Arium shook her head. Each time it fights, it grows more dangerous. I fear what it might become. Jisoo didn't answer. She knew the truth. The SOS had reached Deathworlders, and they hadn't sent aid. They had sent the Hwarang, a dangerous ship, and it had delivered a message. Humanity didn't negotiate, and it didn't fear anyone. As the crew watched the sun rise over the barren landscape, a new understanding settled over them. The galaxy would remember this encounter, and the Hwarang would be ready when the next call came. Humanity did not surrender, and those who dared to reach for help would meet the storm if they were not careful. But those who truly needed protection might survive, as long as they accepted the price. The Hwarang moved silently through space, leaving the barren world behind. Captain Han Jisoo stood at the observation deck, her arms crossed, eyes focused on the dark void. The stars seemed calm, but she knew that danger could appear at any moment. The galaxy did not forgive weakness, and neither did humanity. Lieutenant Park Daehan was reviewing incoming communications. Most of the channels were empty, carrying only static. Yet among the white noise, a new signal blinked, faint and encrypted. He ran the decryption software. Captain, this signal is from a remote research outpost on the edge of the Sea Lion Expanse, he said. It's a distress call, but very old. It's been repeating for several weeks. Jisoo nodded. Plot a course. We will investigate. Engineer Lee Arium frowned. Our systems are still recovering from the last engagement. If we push the warp drive now, we risk a critical failure. Jisoo turned to her. We do not ignore a call for help. Prepare the ship. We jump in 15 minutes. The crew worked efficiently. Arium monitored the reactor cores while Daehan recalculated the optimal warp trajectory. The AI ran simulations, analyzing potential threats. It was a quiet moment, almost peaceful compared to the chaos they had faced, but tension simmered beneath the surface. When they dropped out of warp, the Sea Lion Expanse stretched before them like a black ocean with scattered lights of distant stars. Below, a small planet orbited a dying sun. The outpost was barely visible, a cluster of damaged structures on a jagged landscape. Sensors detected life signs, but they were faint and scattered. Jisoo ordered a closer scan. On the screen, small figures moved across the surface. They were human or close enough. Their uniforms were torn, and their movements were slow and cautious. Someone had been hunting them. They need help, Daehan said, his voice steady. But we do not yet know the enemy, the AI responded. Captain, long-range scans show multiple energy signatures. They are hostile and organized. Tactical analysis predicts a confrontation if we attempt a direct landing. Jisu's eyes narrowed. Then we adapt. Prepare the Hwarang for surface engagement. The descent was precise. The ship hovered above the rocky terrain, its dark hull blending with the shadows. Ariam monitored the energy shields, ensuring they could withstand attacks from unknown weapons. Dehan prepared the targeting systems, tracking movement on the surface. Suddenly, a squadron of alien vehicles emerged from behind cliffs. Their hulls were armored and their weapons glowed ominously. They fired without warning, and the Hwarang responded instantly. Energy beams cut through the vehicles, scattering them in a controlled chaos. The crew watched as the AI calculated every move with lethal efficiency. It was not just a defense. It was a lesson in strategy, a display of human ingenuity paired with ruthless precision. Every shot was measured, every movement anticipated. On the surface, the survivors of the outpost peered from hiding spots, eyes wide with fear. One young man, Kim Seojin, whispered to the others, "Are these humans?" "They are not like us. They are something else," a woman, Choi Minji, shook her head. "They will save us, I think." But at what cost? Back aboard the Hwarang, Jisu issued orders to the AI. "Sweep the area. Neutralize hostiles but minimize collateral damage to the structures." The AI acknowledged. The ship's systems glowed as it moved in perfect synchronization. Beams of energy disabled enemy vehicles without harming the buildings. Enemy combatants tried to regroup, but the AI anticipated every move, cutting them off methodically. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized. Dehan exhaled, leaning back in his chair. "They are all gone," Ariam frowned. "The AI is still running simulations. It is learning from every second of this engagement. Each enemy we defeat, it grows stronger." Jisu looked at the survivors now emerging cautiously from their shelters. They were alive but scared, aware of the destructive power that had just protected them. Hyojin, a medic, stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "Thank you. We didn't expect such power. We thought we would all die." Jisu spoke gently. "You are safe now. Humanity will protect those who cannot protect themselves. But know this, we are not here to play gods. We answer calls for help, but we do not forgive attacks lightly." Seojin bowed his head. "We understand. We will tell others what we saw." The AI, silent until then, finally spoke. "Captain, analysis complete. Hostile forces have been neutralized. Survivors are secured. Recommend extraction of personnel." Jisu nodded. "Prepare transport. Take them aboard. We will move them to safety." As the survivors were escorted to the ship, they looked back at the planet, its scars and devastation clear. Jisu watched them, thinking of the future. Humanity had become a force the galaxy feared, not for conquest, but for protection and precision. Yet with power came responsibility, and she knew the Hwarang was growing beyond what any of them could fully control. The ship lifted from the planet, ascending into the stars. The survivors were safe, but the message had been sent. Any SOS that reached humans would receive help, but also a warning. Humanity did not bow, and those who tested them did not live to tell the tale. Ariam looked at the reactor readings, her worry etched on her face. "Each engagement makes it more dangerous. It adapts faster than we can predict," Jisu's voice was firm. "That is why we must remain vigilant. We are the answer to calls for aid, but we also carry the responsibility of restraint. The galaxy is watching, and so are we." The Hwarang jumped into warp once more, leaving the scarred planet behind. As the stars streaked past, the AI whispered softly, almost to itself, "Another call will come. We will answer. Always." No one in the command room spoke. They understood the weight of the words. The SOS had reached humanity, and humanity had sent a dangerous ship. The galaxy would remember, and so would the Hwarang. And wherever there was danger, wherever cries for help reached the edge of known space, humans would be there, unstoppable, unyielding, and forever ready. The Hwarang sailed through the void, moving from one system to the next, following the faint traces of another distress signal. Captain Hanjisu leaned against the observation window, watching stars shimmer past. She had seen destruction and fear, yet the galaxy still needed help. Humanity, as always, answered the call. Lieutenant Park Dehan analyzed the readings on the console. "This SOS is strange. It appears to be from a mining colony on a planet rich in resources, but the transmission is fragmented. Something is interfering with their systems. Engineer Lee Ariam frowned. Interference usually means someone is trying to hide something. Could be pirates, could be something worse. Jisu's expression was calm. We do not ignore calls for help, we adapt. Prepare for orbital scan and possible engagement. Hours later, the Hwarang approached the planet. The surface was jagged, dotted with large mining rigs and scattered settlements. Smoke rose from damaged structures. Life signs were faint but present. Whoever attacked had left their mark. Jisu gave orders to the AI. Scan for threats and prepare a tactical approach. Keep civilians safe. The AI's voice was calm. Analysis complete. Multiple hostile units detected armed with heavy energy weapons. Civilians are hiding underground. Recommend tactical strike with minimum surface damage. Dehan nodded. Understood. Captain, the ship is ready for surface engagement. Ariam glanced at the power readings. Reactor levels are stable, but the last engagement put strain on the systems. We must be careful. Jisu ignored the warning. We go forward. Humanity does not wait while innocents suffer. The Hwarang descended slowly, hovering above the mining colony. Energy beams from the hostile units fired, striking the ground near the ship. The AI responded instantly, deflecting attacks and countering with precision strikes. The hostile units were destroyed one by one, unable to react to the adaptive strategies of the ship. Below, survivors emerged from hiding spots, staring in awe at the dark human vessel that had saved them. One man, Kim Jinhwan, whispered to his daughter, "These humans are not like anyone we have met. They are different." A woman, Park Soo-young, nodded. "They came for us." "And they are not gentle." Inside the command room, Jisu watched the AI at work. "Focus on neutralizing threats, not destruction," she ordered. "We protect life, even as we fight." The AI adapted its strategy, disabling enemy weapons and vehicles without harming the structures or the civilians. Within minutes, all threats were neutralized. The survivors could move safely, though they were shaken. Dehan exhaled slowly. No casualties among the civilians. The ship performed flawlessly. Ariam shook her head. It's learning too fast. Each engagement makes it stronger and harder to predict. If we are not careful, it could become uncontrollable. Jisu's gaze was fixed on the planet below. We will control it, we must. But right now the people need us. Prepare the transports to evacuate them. The survivors were guided aboard the Hwarang. They were grateful, though afraid, understanding the cost of the protection they had received. One child, Lee Hana, looked at Jisu and whispered, "Thank you for saving us." Jisu smiled faintly. "You are welcome. But remember, strength is a responsibility. Use it wisely." The ship lifted from the planet, ascending into space. As they left the atmosphere, Dehan spoke quietly. "Captain, do you think the galaxy will ever see humans the same way again?" Jisu did not answer immediately. She watched the stars streak past. "They will remember. Fear and respect will follow us. But as long as we protect those in need, we will remain guardians, not conquerors." Ariam's voice was soft, concerned. The AI is evolving with every mission. One day it might act beyond our control. Jisu turned to her with calm determination. "Then we will be ready. The Hwarang is powerful, yes, but we are its keepers. Humanity must be both the shield and the master." The survivors looked out at the stars, leaving their damaged world behind. They had been saved, but they had witnessed a force unlike anything they had imagined. The message was clear. Calls for help would be answered. But anyone foolish enough to test humanity would face overwhelming power. As the ship jumped into warp, the AI whispered, almost contemplative, "Another call will reach us. We will respond, always." No one in the command room spoke. They understood the truth. Humanity did not wait. Humanity did not forgive lightly. And wherever danger called, the Hwarang would be there. A dark storm of justice and power, unstoppable and ever ready to answer the SOS. The Hwarang glided through the stars, leaving the last rescued colony behind. Captain Han Jisu stood in the observation deck, her face calm, yet her mind was alert. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and hidden cries for help. Humanity had answered many, but she knew more were waiting. Lieutenant Park Dehan checked the tactical systems. "Captain, there is a signal ahead. It is unlike previous ones. It is large, complex, and seems intentional, possibly a trap." Engineer Lee Ariam frowned. "Our reactors are stable, but the systems have been through a lot. Another engagement could risk damage." Jisu turned to both of them. We do not ignore SOS signals. Prepare the ship. We jump in 15 minutes. The AI, silent until now, spoke. Captain, analysis suggests high risk. Potential hostiles far outnumber previous encounters. Tactical approach recommended. Jisoo nodded. We adapt. The mission is to save lives. Not to fight, but if necessary, we will defend and neutralize threats. When they emerged from warp, the scene was alarming. A vast asteroid belt surrounded a dying sun, with wreckage of ships scattered across space. On the largest asteroid, a settlement struggled to survive, its structures barely standing. Life signs were weak and scattered. Someone had attacked them long before the SOS reached humanity. Jisoo gave orders to the AI. Scan for hostiles and civilian positions. Keep destruction limited. The AI's voice was precise. Analysis complete. Hostile units detected in multiple positions. They are heavily armed but scattered. Recommend strategic neutralization. Daehan studied the readings. They are too organized for pirates. Someone sent them to test us or perhaps to lure us into danger. Ariam's eyes were worried. The Hwarang can handle them, but prolonged engagement could overload the system. Jisoo nodded. We act with precision. Focus on saving the survivors. The ship descended slowly, hovering above the asteroid settlement. Hostile energy beams fired from hidden positions, striking near the ship. The AI adapted instantly, countering with precision strikes while minimizing damage to the structures. The battle was swift and efficient. The enemy tried to regroup, but the Hwarang anticipated every movement, neutralizing threats one by one. On the surface, survivors peered out from shelters, witnessing the dark human vessel that had come to save them. One young man, Yu Jiwan, whispered, "They are not like anyone we know. They are unstoppable." A woman, Kim Sora, nodded. "They protect, but with fearsome power." Inside the command room, Jisoo watched as the AI controlled the engagement. Focus on neutralizing threats, not destruction. Protect the lives, even if the structures are damaged. The AI adjusted its strategy, disabling enemy weapons while keeping the buildings intact. Within minutes, the battle ended. The survivors were safe, though shaken by the display of power they had witnessed. Daehan exhaled. No civilian casualties. The ship performed perfectly. Ariam shook her head. Each engagement changes it. It adapts, evolves, becomes harder to predict. One day it may not obey. Jisoo's expression was firm. Then we will be ready. We guide it, control it, and ensure it remains a tool for protection, not destruction. The survivors were guided aboard the Hwarang. Their gratitude was mixed with fear. They had witnessed a force unlike any they had imagined, and they understood that humans were no ordinary species. Heejin, a medic, looked at Jisoo with tears in her eyes. "Thank you. We were not sure we would live," Jisoo responded softly. "You are safe. Remember, true strength carries responsibility. Use it wisely." The ship left the asteroid field, rising into open space. Daehan spoke quietly. "Do you think the galaxy will ever see humans the same way?" Jisoo stared at the stars. "They will remember. Humanity does not wait. We do not forgive lightly, but we protect those in need. That is who we are." Ariam's concern lingered. "The AI evolves with every mission. One day it may be unpredictable." Jisoo looked at her with calm determination. "Then we will remain vigilant. Humanity must be both shield and master. We protect, but we also control our power." The survivors gazed out at the stars, leaving their devastated home behind. They had been saved, but the power they had witnessed was awe-inspiring. Humanity had sent a warning. Help would come, but those who attacked or tested them would face overwhelming force. The Hwarang jumped into warp once more. The AI whispered, almost contemplative, "Another call will come. We will respond, always." The command room remained silent. They understood the weight of the words. Humanity had answered the SOS. They had sent a dangerous ship. The galaxy would remember, and so would the Hwarang. Wherever there was danger, wherever cries for help reached humanity's edge, the ship would be there, unstoppable, unyielding, and forever ready.